Hello, hello, hello. Hi, world, and welcome to Bleav in the Dallas Cowboys with your normal two people who bother you a couple of times a week. I'm Jeff Cavanaugh. That is former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse Holley, and we are joined by a special guest today who I could also say is a former Cowboys wide receiver, but a former Washington Commander because he's the host of Bleav in Commanders. He's a traitor, and but he is here to join us today, the great Anthony Armstrong. Hi, Anthony. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I appreciate y'all having me. It's kind of weird being behind enemy lines, but still on the same side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, it's good to join y'all, man. I got to give y'all's flowers, man. I watch from afar, and y'all have been doing great things over the past few years. So from Jesse to his Mr. Fourth and Long and his path to the NFL, we could have a battle in that. Just who had the craziest path to the NFL, but either way, you made it a great career, and after football has been awesome too. So congrats to you. And Jeff, same thing for you, man. Mental health game, I've been following that too. So love it. Good job.
You. I'm a train wreck. Yeah. Good job, Jesse.
No, appreciate it. But I will say this: I am the only player to ever get to the league from a reality TV show. So that's pretty sweet.
It's something.
It's pretty sweet.
It's something. I'll take it. Hell, I came from. I feel like I'm the only one out of the intense football league. So
intense. What was the intense football league?
It was about six teams or so. I played for the Odessa Roughnecks, and that's where I got my start. I had to get. They said go get some tape, and I found somebody who had a team, and they had rolled the turf out in the parking lot, y'all, like right on the corner of a major. You pick just major intersection. There was a football field with little cats running around playing football. We stopped in traffic because the ball was in the yard or in the street, I should say. Yeah, like no lie, bro. And I'm like, I want to get to the NFL. And then they're like, well, this is where you finna start. So
that's intense in every sense of the word.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, man. Eating taco Cavanaugh for lunch, man. In 2 days, it was, hey. It was a life, man.
Yeah, well, that part sounds great. Taco Cabana is amazing. If Taco Cabana,
shout out to Odessa, Roy Williams, home of Roy Williams.
Yes.
And Boobie Miles.
Oh,
yes. Let him spin.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This presentation, by the way, is brought to you by our new friends. I don't know if you can see the top of Jesse and I's heads. You can, but it's brought to you by our friends at Melon, but it's Melin. It's the finest hat wear in all the world. Once upon a time, I Bleav all three of our mutual friends, Skin Wade, I was on the radio with him, and he was talking about how if you wear an above water hat underwater, but then you come up from underwater, but you had an above water hat on, that's when your nap could snake right off. That could nap a snake. So what you need is a hat that is built for activity and water and sweat. Melon got that for you. It's the greatest hat in the world. Melon.com/Cowboys will get you 30% off. They don't do discounts very often. You guys need to know. Melon.com/Cowboys, 30% off. Get you a hat.
Wow.
Yeah, don't let your nap snack.
I might use that code, man. I'm gonna write that down. Shoot.
Well, that'd make you a traitor. You need to get your
discounts. I'm about to discount, man. I'm here for them coupons, baby. You know, you change your grocery store for a coupon. You go over here and get these strawberries for 97 cents.
We'll talk about some Cowboys. We might as well because it's Bleav in Cowboys. But I also wanted to ask you because I feel like the team that you are host of a show about, the Commanders, have actually had a more fun offseason. It's fun to spend a top 3 pick on a quarterback. It's fun when you're changing coaches and adding so many different players. Tell me about the initial reaction to Dan Quinn, man in charge, Washington.
You know, I think that it was all very welcomed. You know, it was very welcomed. They've been able to. The fans have been trusting Adam Peters and Josh Harris and just the way they've been handling this thing in the offseason. I feel like since the ownership change back in July, the only thing that came up short was the on-field results. That was it. Like, people weren't even that upset about it. They would suck that you lose, but they weren't that upset. They're like, hey, well, Dan Snyder's not here. And they hung on that for so long. And then you get Adam Peters, one of the top GM candidates. He's in the building. They felt a little snubbed by Ben Johnson, but once, you know, Dan Quinn was hired and then that staff started getting compiled, it was like, they up to something up here, right? They're really cooking. And then now you get into the draft and it's just like Adam Peters knows what he's doing. And it feels good to have intelligent leadership in the front office where you can sit back and say, all right, hey, do your thing. And I mean, intelligent is something that's been kind of lacking in the past few years over there.
We don't know anything about that, though. at least Cowboys do win regular season games, though. But,
hey, man, I remember playing in Washington, be jealous. I'd be like, man, I'm going to get 16. They're going to get like 17. That's about it. But I didn't know how much further, Dallas was going to get. But, hey, I would always tell people, Washington fans, I'd be like, y'all got to quit dogging on Dallas fans. At least they're in the playoffs, right? They get a chance. We're eliminated by week 8. Like, that's not cool. You playing almost meaningless football for the rest of the year. So to actually have something to play for, that's something that you commend, and that's why people like Dallas,
And you hit on something when you're talking about expectation, meaningful football, playoffs, yes. Is the energy feeling like, all right, change of leadership, change of head coach, top 5 draft pick? Are the Washington fans trying to like, all right, let's kind of slowly step this thing up, or they're like, nah, we need postseason right now. Like we need to get this thing going. We need to move this train right along. What's the energy coming out of Washington right now?
I think you get more people that are tempering their expectations, right? They're half the conglomerate looks back and they're like, oh well. You have glimpses of RG3, second overall pick, and athletic and so on and so forth. And Robert said himself, Jayden Daniels is a better quarterback than he was coming out of college. And I agree with that. I think he's a much better passer, more efficient with the football, and I feel like he's more dangerous with his arms, and he can run. So, Robert had a hell of a season, when he was coming out of Baylor. But, there's something a little bit different about when you're working with Jayden and seeing how he handles himself. So, people are taking they're taking it slow. They expect to see an improvement. They're like, hey, we are in a rebuild, so on and so forth. And I mean, when you've been beat up for the past 25 years, with getting your expectations raised up with big free agent signings and then dropping the ball year after year, they temper their expectations. This is finally a time where they're willing to be patient.
Well, you mentioned the RG3 year, and if I remember right, that was going from last in the division to 10-6 and winning the NFC East. People aren't trying to rekindle that thought where it's like, look, we brought in a quarterback that was a dynamic run, throw, changes the way teams have to approach us, and we got immediate results. Can we get that with Jayden?
I mean, you think that's something that to happen, but you really feel people that are more level-headed about it. They're like, okay, all right, we still got to go through Philly. You still got to deal with Dallas, and you're coming from being 4th in the division. And yes, this is the division where anybody can win because nobody wants to go back-to-back too often. So yeah, you think you have a chance. And I mean, that'd probably be the best that you could expect is right. You find your way to the top of the division, and you're like, oh wow, we won this thing. I don't think anybody's coming in clear cut saying we're going to win the division. We're sweeping everybody. We're going to the Super Bowl. It's not that. It's just you expect to see some on-field improvement, and everything has been working out well so far. So next thing is just see how everybody happens to play in pads.
When you're looking at Dan Quinn, noted defensive coordinator, defensive-minded coach, but when you go that high in the draft for a quarterback, like, do you have a feel for kind of how this team is going to, like, identity-wise, going to play itself out? Is it going to be, you know what, we're relying heavy on the defense and we're going to let this rookie kind of come along, and we're saying, nah, all gas, no brakes. We're giving the ball to this rookie, and we're gonna sling this thing all over the park. And if our defense needs to step up, it will be ready to step up.
I think that's a hell of a question, Jesse, because it's built out to where he's going to not have as much pressure put on him specifically. I mean, you look at the way the offense is built. You got Austin Eckler, vet. He can do it all himself and not require a whole bunch from Jayden. You got Terry McLaurin outside. You got Jahan Dotson, who's going to have a bounce-back season. Zach Ertz is a good wily vet that's at tight end. Now you just added to that with Ben Sinnott coming out of Kansas State. So you're putting useful pieces around it. I mean, go look at San Francisco, right? And, hey, I'm not going through the comparison of who's who and what, but young quarterback that's unproven. Sure, he was a late-round pick, Mr. Irrelevant. He's got Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, George Kittle. Like, you're like, it's stacked over here. He can be a game manager and go and take it to the Super Bowl, right? So I think that's how the offense is set up. But then you look at the defense when you got a Bobby Wagner who's going to be able to, Jesse, you understand this. When the coaches leave and he's like, hold on, everybody, I got to talk to y'all first. Bobby Wagner will do that. That defense hasn't had that, I feel, in the past few years, that will do it without having to do it in front of a camera. So having that type of leadership and then just knowing what Dan Quinn has done with defenses, you got to think that the defense is going to be able to be a force in and of itself, and then let Jayden and the offense kind of grow as they get going. But there could be some fireworks early.
Now, this is Anthony Armstrong, who played for the Commanders, played for the Cowboys as well. So your other former team. What do you make of the boring Cowboys offseason? Like we pinated them a lot for doing nothing, and it's like, oh, sweet, you're not trying to get better. But like their plan is we are resetting our books, kind of. We're not doing anything that's going to risk the future. We're cruising for a year or two. What do you make of that offseason so far?
Man, I tell you, it's upsetting. I mean, I'm living down here in Dallas, so it's like I got to hear from everybody like, man, they didn't do anything. Like the Commanders did good, and that's how it feels. It's weird for once, where everybody's kind of patting Washington on the back, but like you said, you got all these people that want to get paid in Dallas, and they deserve to get paid, and you really have to start making some tough decisions. What direction are you going to go at quarterback, and then you got CD that's going to want to get paid. It's just a lot of people need some money, and they're going to be deserving of it. And, Jerry wants to keep as many as he can. So it's going to take that you're going to have to swallow some tough pills for a little while just to get through this offseason. I mean, you're still going to have a talented team. Like, don't get me wrong. Like Dallas is a pretty good roster. And you're always going to be in that conversation to win the division. So it's just something that, hey, maybe just you got to take that Washington approach. Just sit back and let's see if Jerry got something he can cook up.
Did you just admit to being a Cowboy fan?
Hey, man, look, I'm a fan of football, baby.
Oh, okay.
I'm a fan of football. Okay. I'm a fan of football. I know this much. I was all up in this organization, and they let me get out.
Yep.
All right. So I was with the Desperados, too. Okay. So I was in the
I remember that. Yeah. Will was the coach, right?
Yeah, Will McClay was the coach. So like, I was in this building. I was hoping and thinking I'd have been a Cowboy. Like, shit, I'm finna wear this star. That's what's up, hometown kid. I said, shoot, now you going to South Beach, baby. I'm down there in South Beach with Bill Parcells and Sperano and them. So bounced from there and then worked my way up to Washington. And then that was my villain story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when this villain story started.
Yeah.
But as someone who's been around this league, has been played from multiple teams, you hear so much about the mystique of the star. You know what it is to be in that building. You know what it is to be in this organization. Do you think it's losing its luster around the league of players wanting to come to play for the Cowboys? Because there used to be a moment in time where like guys were like, man, if I could get to Dallas, that would change everything. But the parity across the league, you see guys more so when they become free agents or when they're out there, they're like, nah, I'm good on Dallas. I'll go elsewhere.
Yeah, I do think that the star is a little tarnished in that sense. It's kind of like how folks were shying away from going to New England. They're like, that Patriot way really ain't that cool when we're not winning championships, right? Like we'll go follow Brady or we'll go to the next young coach who's got an up and coming roster. It's different type of coaches now, different type of players, and it makes us sound old. But I mean, like people really care. They want you to care about them as a player, and you can't. Just do some of the same things that you've always done in the past until you bring a trophy home, or show a massive overhaul and a change in how things are done. People are going to shy away from coming down to Dallas. I mean, yeah, it's still a great organization, and Jerry's going to take care of you. That's the one thing I always applaud. He takes care of his people, and that's you come from other organizations coming in Washington. You're like, man, this is nicer over here. But now the teams that hey, they want to win. And that holds a lot more weight.
It's Anthony Armstrong with us, who you can see on Bleav in Commanders. Kind of enemy, kind of ally. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. I do wonder about Kliff Kingsbury, and I wanted to get your perspective on this because people joke about it a lot, and I think I mostly agree with it. Like, holy cow, what a job of failing up. Like, it's not like he was kicking ass at Texas Tech, and then it's like, all right, come on up. And then it's not like he was crushing it at USC, and it's come on up. And so now he's the OC of Washington. Has anybody failed up better than Kliff, or am I missing something?
Man, I'm sure there's somebody that's out there, but I mean, I've said it too. I'm like, golly, this dude just finds his way into great situations. I mean, I'll leave it at that. I mean, it is something that's just like, man, it's very convenient, right? I mean, has he had success, great success as head coach? Not really. He had a playoff season in Arizona, I want to say, for 1 year. But I think now one thing, and I'll talk about that whole staff overall, there's a lot of former head coaches who are getting to go back to do, what they came in doing. I think that could be beneficial for Kliff. Like, you don't have to worry about an entire team. You're really good at offense. Develop this quarterback and score points, right? Don't worry about this other stuff. I got it. And I think being in that role, and I'm interested to see how it works with Brian Johnson coming over from the Eagles. Like, they have to meld minds, because you got to think Brian's like, shoot, I should be a OC somewhere. I should be a head coach somewhere. So you got to drop your ego and work together. But how they work together is going to be very interesting. But yeah, you're right. He does find himself into favorable situations, and maybe this is where the stars align and you get massive results from it.
What this team had on the roster, what it drafted, from your perspective, what are still some holes you're like, man, we got some pieces here, got some things there, but still that can still be a little bit of a piece we need to kind of find a way to cover up if we're really going to turn this thing around.
I'll give you two. One is just on that offensive side, offensive line. You got Brandon Coleman out of TCU, projected as a guard. They're going to use him as a tackle. I looked at some of his tape, and he's a big short set guy, but he's going to have to deal with speed. I mean, Micah Parsons, Kayvon Thibodeau, just all these names that can really get around the edge. And is he going to be able to develop to that? So if you don't add anybody else, it's going to be a question mark. I mean, sure, Jayden can navigate and get out of the pocket, and you can help out with play calling and such, but that's just the one position where it's like, I would like to see another name there, and maybe you get something out of Cornelius Lucas, getting brought back there. So offensive line will be one. And on the defensive side, still got to look about the secondary. Got to look in that secondary somewhere. You did get the kid out of Michigan in San Still, and I expect him to be a really dynamic player. But you got to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of those pieces. Emmanuel Forbes coming off a pretty rough year. Benjamin St. Juste kind of up and down. He got injured. Sometimes he's available, but you get Derek Forrest back. You lose Cam Curl, bring in Jeremy Chin. So a lot of new pieces, but Dan Quinn has worked magic with low draft picks and undrafted players, former receivers that are now moving to corner. So he might have another mix, so he can put something good together back there.
It's Anthony Armstrong with us. He's a man of many parts, a man that I went to help recommend for who would get my pool. I Bleav he's a man in DFW that could buy or sell a home for you. I Bleav he could do that for you. So fine. Where are your social medias? What are your social medias?
At Rated Armstrong. I got it all matching across the board. So hit me up on Twitter there at Rated Armstrong.
Nice. Look at that. All right, Jesse, we did it. We did a show. Yeah. Check out our melon hats.
I do got one question. Since we're all three receivers here, right?
Well, the different levels, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, nonetheless, you think about a quarterback like Dak Prescott, think about a quarterback like Jayden Daniels, right? And Dak's more of your pocket presence quarterback. Jayden might be a little bit of athlete who can play quarterback. I've always been of the mindset, this is just Jesse Holley, and I'm going to get your opinions. Do you want your quarterback to be athletic, or would you prefer him to just be able to elude pressure, but I don't want running on your mind? Coming from receivers, how do you guys process that when you're talking about a quarterback?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, statue. Yeah, I want a statue. Because, I mean, here's the thing. Not only, look, because we're by nature, there's something about it. Like, you can see, because even me, who the highest level, I mean, unless you want to count flag football, where I am one of the GOATs. But if you want, like, in football, if you're a receiver, we want numbers. I want the ball. I want to win, but if I win and don't have a catch, I didn't have a great time. I want the ball. So, yeah, I want him to be a statue, and I'd rather he get sacked than scramble, because I don't want to run for 9 seconds and you not throw me the ball. I want to run my route, and then let's do it again.
I can dig all of that. I mean, that's just extra steps that you're getting. Yeah. I think it comes down to like plan and structure. Like, I'll think about the time 2012 when you had RG3 and Kirk Cousins. So I was on that training camp, and Robert, more athletic than Kirk Cousins, had all the arm strength and could do whatever with the ball, throw it anywhere. But a lot of times it would be outside of the timing of the play. Kirk was going to do the thing on time, throw where it's supposed to be, so on and so forth. As a receiver, it definitely got more comfortable knowing that he was going to operate on time rather than having the play get extended. So for me, I got to take steady, just, hey, you're in the pocket. But having that athleticism and the way they play now, though, Jesse, you got to think these kids play the scrambles and they put that into play, like they do that on purpose now. So I don't think it's as wild to see somebody that's athletic. So pass first, though. Pass first.
I agree. I agree. Just pass first. Then maybe a sack. Then I want you to run.
I want my quarterback to be like 350. Like just he is
you
not.
Want Jared Lorenzen.
Jared Lorenzen.
Yes, I want the hefty lefty. Get me the rock. When his ball spin, I think he did. His ball spun the wrong way. I need a right-handed hefty lefty. I need a hefty righty. So to spin the right way. Anyway, everybody have a great day. This is Bleav in Cowboys. These are our friends at Melon, melon.com/Cowboys. Get you 30% off some of the finest headwear on planet Earth. That's Anthony Armstrong, one of the sweetest men on the face of the earth. So is Jesse Holley. I'm just me. I'm just a person. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. So be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy.
Eliminate the contingencies.
Anthony, do you have a catchphrase?
Go along with Armstrong.
Okay.